Good afternoon, students. Today's lecture is about housing principles of livestock. So, in this, we will study the different types of houses that are provided for livestock and poultry, and we will also discuss that why we need the housing of poultry and the livestock. Okay. So, firstly, we will discuss about that why it is essential to provide housing to the cattle, right? So, we need to provide housing to cattle to give them proper comfort and to protect the cattle or protect the livestock from the any kind of climatic conditions, adverse climatic conditions, and to protect the animals from predators. Okay, and also to maintain their good health. We can only maintain the good health of cattle if we are providing them good housing, right? So in a good housing, we can make sure that no diseases occurring there, and the cattle are not suffering from any kind of insects, right? And we are providing them the good feed. By these things, we can check that the health of our cattle is good, right? And housing is also provided to the cattle so that they can do better. Their production can be increased, performance of animals can be good, okay, and due to intensification of the animal farming, right? So these are the reasons why we need to provide them housing. So firstly, when we have to decide about making a house for the cattle, or that is in a cattle shed, so there are a number of points that should be kept in mind before selecting the site for making house or making shed for cattle. So there are some points like topography and drainage, soil type, water supply should be there, accessibility to the market, labor should be cheap, marketing facility should be there, electricity should be good, ventilation and the miscellaneous. So firstly, topography and drainage. So before constructing a cattle shed, a dairyman should keep in mind that the building should be at a higher elevation than the surroundings, right? So that it can offer a good slope for the rainfall and drainage of the waste of dairy to avoid stagnation within, right? So the area that is selected for the house or the shed of the cattle, it should be elevated so that there should be a good slope for the runoff of water in case of rains, and it should provide a good drainage system. If the area is leveled, it will require less site preparation and thus lesser cost of building. Lowlands and depressions and proximity to places of bad order should be avoided, right? So lowland should be avoided. If there are any depressions in the land, that should be avoided because there some bad order may occur there if there are some depressions in the land, right? So while selecting the site, we should keep in mind that there should be a good drainage system and the area should be slopy. Then soil type, which kind of soil should be selected for dairy purposes or for cattle shed. So the fertile soil should be kept for cultivation. Okay, so we do not need fertile soil for the cattle shed. We just need any foundation soil that should not be too hydrated or not too desiccated, right? And such soil is susceptible to considerable swelling during rains and exhibit numerous cracks. So soil should not be we do not need a fertile soil, but soil should not be too dehydrated or desiccated because cracks will exhibit in case of rainy seasons. Then water supply, the abundant supply of fresh, clean and soft water should be there at a cheap rate. Then accessibility, the cattle shed should be accessible to the market or main road, right? So it should be uh, by the side of the main road, preferably at a distance of about 100 meters, right? Because yeah, if it is accessible, if the road is near to the cattle shed, then we need some feeds for the cattle, so it will be easy to bring the feeds, and we will the farmers will sell their milk in the market, so it will be easy for the farmers also, if the place, if the cattle shed is near to the road. Then labor, the site where we are going to make a shed, it should be the labor should be easily available at cheaper rates, and labor should be honest, economic, right? Then marketing, dairy building should be built in those areas where the owner can sell his products profitably and regularly. So the dairy building should be nearer to market, you can say, or easily accessible to the markets. Then electricity, it is the most important sanitary method by lighting a dairy. So there are many electric equipments for milking of cows, right? And we need electricity. So electricity supply should be there in the cattle shed. And ventilation. Ventilation should be proper in the cattle shed, because they are the cows or buffaloes or the cattle which are residing in the shed, they are excreting there only. So if ventilation is proper and sunlight is proper on the areas, then then there will be no any bad odor in the sheds, right? So ventilation should be proper and sunlight should be proper in the cattle sheds. Miscellaneous, so feed storage should be located at hand near the center of the cow barn. So feed storage area should be made inside that shed. Okay, milk house should be located almost at the center of the barn, right? Barn or shed, right? Barn, shed is also known as barn. So milk house, where milking has been done in the morning as well as in the evening, so it should be located in the center of that shed, right? Then center cross alley should be well designed with reference to feed storage, the stall area, and the milk house of housing, right? So alleys means pathways. The pathways should be well designed, right? So feed storage should be within the barn. The milk house should be within the barn, and there should be good cross alleys or pathways in the barn. So this is the side view of a cattle shed, right? This is the roof that is slanting, and there are some iron rods. There is brick wall, like walls are made of bricks, and inside the house, the iron rods are there so that the cattle can be kept in those areas, right? So in this slide, you can see the space requirement by animals. So cow require 3.5 square meter covered area, and it also requires some open area, that is 7 square meter. Buffaloes require 4 square meter covered area, and an open area of 8 square meter. And the pregnant cows also require the same areas as the buffalo, right? Then young stock means the younger ones. So there are three categories of young stock, that is up to 3 months, then the young stock which is in the age group of 3 to 6 months, and then young stock more than 6 months. So the young stock that is in the age of 3 months, they require lesser area as compared to the others. So it requires only 1 square meter for covered area and 1.5 square meter open area. Then young stock up to 3 to 6 months, they require 1 square meter covered area and 2.5 square meter open area for their movement, right? And then young stock that is more than 6 months, they require 2 square meter covered area and 4 square meter open area for their movement, right? And but bull requires somewhat more area than cows and buffaloes. They require 12 square meter covered area and 120 square meter open area, right? Next, there are the systems of housing, right? So there are different types of systems of housing by which we can keep our cattle or buffaloes in a house. So there are three types of housing systems, like single row housing system, double row housing system, and loose housing system, right? So single row housing system means there is only one row, right? So this kind of housing system is made by a farmer who is having lesser number of cows, that is only 10 number of cows or less than 10 number of cows, right? So cow sheds can be arranged in single row if number of cows are less than 10, right? So if the number of cows is less than 10, then farmers can adopt this type of housing system, that is single row housing system. This system is suitable in small size farmers, like, right? So the farmers who are having less than 10 number of cows. Then double row housing system. Double row housing system is followed where the herd is the larger one, right? So where the number of cows is more, 80 to 100 cows can be placed in one building if we are following double row housing system. So this double row housing system is divided into two subclasses. The one is head to head system and other is tail to tail system. So head to head system, in this you can see the manger from which they get their food. It is in between, and the heads of the cows are facing each other, right? So this one, the first figure is of younger stock and the later figure is of cows which are milk, some of them may be milking cows, right? So head to head system means that their heads face each other, right? So what are the advantages of head to head system? Cows make a better showing for visitors when the heads are together, right? So they give a good appearance, right? So someone, when someone visits the shed, it gives a good appearance. The cows feel easier to get in their stalls. Okay, whenever we have to, whenever we keep them outside the shed, then again we have to keep them inside the shed. So it will be easy for them to go into their stalls. Sun rays shine in the gutter where they are needed most. So gutter side is on the other side. So their sun rays fall directly on the gutter, and it is mostly needed. The sun rays mostly needed at that side, and there will be no any bad smell. Feeding of cows is easier. Okay, so feeding will be easier. Both rows can be fed without backtracking. So both of the rows can be fed easily. So it is better for narrow buildings. So if the buildings are narrow, this arrangement, that is head-to-head system housing, can be provided, right? Next system is tail-to-tail system. Tail-to-tail system means the tails of the cow will face each other and the heads will be outside. The tails will be inside and the heads will be on the outside, and the mangers will be also on the outside, right? So what are the advantages of tail to tail system? In cleaning and milking the cows, the wide middle alley is of great advantage. So when we have to clean the cows, so this is the middle alley, middle pathway. So this is a great pathway. So it will be easy to clean all the cows. Lesser danger of spread of diseases from animal to animal, right? So when they are in head-to-head system, the diseases spread is more, right? From the face, from the mouth side. But in this system, the disease spread will be lesser. Cows can get more fresh air from the outside, right? So cows can get more air, fresh air. The head goala can inspect the number of milkmen while milking. So when milking is done in this shed only, so the main head, the goala, can inspect number of milkmen. Any sort of minor diseases or any change in the hind quarter of the animal can be detected quickly, right? So the farmer or the dairy man can detect the any kind of diseases quickly, right? So these are the advantages of tail to tail system. Now loose housing system. Loose housing system means that animals are kept loose. Okay, so they are only at the time of milking or at the time of treatment they are bound, but all the other time they are loose, they are kept loose. So this system is most economical because we do not need to maintain any kind of buildings, any kind of structures, like, right? So what are the features of loose housing system? The cost of construction is significantly lower, right? So cost of construction is lower. It is possible to make further expansion without any change. Animals feel free, and they also prove more profitable when even minimum grazing. Animal get optimum exercise, which is extremely important for better health production, right? As they are loose, they can move here and there, so they can get optimum exercise, which is very important for their better health production. And overall, better management can be done in loose housing system. So this is the figure of a loose housing system in which the cows can sit anywhere, can move anywhere. Okay. So there are some other kind of barns which are required at the sheds. So conventional barns or the stanchion barns means that these animals are secured by a chain, right? This is found. This is very conventional method, right? So animals are confined together on a platform and they are secured at net by the tensions or neck chains. Animals are fed as well as milked in the same barn. So milking and feeding of animals is done in the same barn. These barns are completely covered with roofs and sidewalls and are closed with the windows or ventilator located at the suitable places to get more ventilation and lighting, right? So these are complete, they are having complete roof, the windows, walls, right? So through windows they can get proper sunlight and ventilation. It is applicable for temperate and heavy rainfall regions. So this kind of barns or this kind of sheds are found in case of heavy rainfall regions as well as in temperate regions. Same type of housing can be utilized for tropical regions with slight modifications, right? Then milking barn or milk parlor. So in case of where where a farmer having many cows, so he need to separate the cows at the time of milking, right? So these are the milking barns where animals are milked. Okay, so these milking barns are fully covered. It should be located at the center of the farm. So this barn should be located at the center of the farm, and there shall be individual standing in the milking barn, and number of standing required should be 25% of the total number of milch animals in the herd. So there should be proper standing bars in the milking barns, and number of standing barns should be 25% of the total milch animals. Milking operation should be carried out in batches, right? Then down cover shed or calving pen. So calving pen, when the animals are pregnant and they need some more space, so they are transferred to a calving pen 2 to 3 weeks before the expected date of calving. So this in this area they can move freely, right? They can feel better, they can feel free in these kind of barns, these kind of sheds, right? So before 2 to 3 days of their expected date of carving, they should be transferred to a carving pen. Carving pen, the size of carving pen should be 3 by 4 meters, or you can say 12 square meter, to keep the animals in advanced stages of the pregnancy. So it should be located nearer to the farmer's quarter for better supervision. So that farmers can supervise these pregnant animals carefully. So this barn or this calving pen should be near to the farmer's quarter. The number of calving pens required is 10% of the total number of the breedable female stock in the farm. So this is the number that is required for calving pens. Then calf pen. So once the calves are born, so separate calf pens should be there so that the younger stock cannot get a harm from the older ones, right? So this is meant for housing young calves separately. It can be located either at the end or on the side of the milking barn. So these younger stock should be kept near the milking barn, so that at the time of milking, farmers need these younger stock, these calves, to come with their mother. So this calf pen should be near the milking barn. This facilitates taking calves to their dams quickly, right? If there are large number of calves, the separate unit of calf shed should be arranged and located near to the milking barn. So calf pen should be separate. Then young stock or heifer shed. Heifer are the animals, female animals. Heifers are the female animals which are more than 6 months and which are coming to their breeding age, right? So there should be a different or a different shed or a separate shed for the heifer or for young stock females, right? So this is meant for housing younger heifers separately. So heifers means the females, okay, which are not which are more than 6 months and they are near to their breeding time, right? So older heifer calves from about 6 months of age to breeding age are to be housed separately from the suckling calves. So these calves should be separated. When a large number of young stock are there, they should be divided into different age groups and each group houses house separately to facilitate the scientific feeding, right? So if there is large number of young stock is present on the farm, so they should be grouped in, according to their different ages and they should be housed separately. Then dry animal shed. Dry animal means the cows which are not giving milk or which are going to be pregnant, right? So those animal shed should be separate from the milking cows or pregnant cows or heifers, right? So dry in large farms, milch and dry cows are housed separately. The floor is in the covered area should be preferably be made of cement concrete. So these animals who are dry, they can be kept on a floor which is cement concrete. Under Indian conditions, in smaller farms, milch and dry animals can be housed together, right? So normally one third of the animal in a farm will be in dry and in dry come pregnant stage, right? Then isolation shed. So isolation shed is meant for the animals uh, who are not healthy, right? So that they cannot transmit the diseases to the healthy stock. So they are so they should be separated from the healthy stock. So this isolation shed is made only especially for the sick animals, right? So sick animal separation of sick animals from the healthy animals to avoid the transmission of diseases to healthy stock, and it should be located at the corner of the shed so that these sheds are inaccessible to other animals and the diseases may not transmit to the other animals. That's why the location of the isolation shed should be at a corner of the shed. Next is quarantine shed. Quarantine shed means when the farmers buy some new buffalo or cow and from some other farmer, then they should uh, keep that cow or buffalo in a quarantine shed because sometimes these newly bought cows or buffaloes may carry some kind of diseases and if these animals are kept along with the other animals at the farm, they may transmit some kind of diseases. So the newly purchased animals should be kept in quarantine shed for a minimum period of 30 to 40 days, right? So that the farmer can watch out for any kind of diseases or any kind of disease occurrence, right? So the location of the quarantine shed should be at the entrance of the farm, right? So this is all about the sheds of cattle. So different kinds of housing systems and different kind of sheds that are provided to cattle and young stock and heifers, right? So next we will discuss about the housing principles of poultry, right? So poultry is also kept in different kind of houses so that we can protect the poultry from many of the adverse climatic conditions as well as from the predators, and we can check for their good health. So the housing is provided to the poultry. So what are the objectives of poultry? The primary objective of poultry house is to protect the poultry from sun, from rain, and from predators. And it is also essential to provide comfort to the birds. And all the poultry houses should be well ventilated. They should be reasonably cool in summer and warm during winter. So these are the objectives of poultry housing. Now location. So the location of the poultry houses should also be uh, means it should be accessible to the market. There should be a good source of electricity. Good drainage system should be there. Good drinking water should be freely available, so that as the chicks require drinking water, and the market should be nearby, and chick feed should be available easily. Then there are different kinds of systems of poultry housing. So broadly, there are three types of housing systems of poultry. The first one is free range or extensive system. The second one is semi-intensive system, and the third one is intensive system. So third one, that is intensive system, it is further divided into three groups, that is deep litter system, flattened floor system, and cage system. So firstly we will discuss about free range or extensive system. Free range system means the birds are allowed to move freely, right? So there is land can be selected of about 1 acre or 2 acres, or we can say for 1 hectare. So that land is selected, and the birds can move freely on that land, right? So this system is adopted when the adequate land is available. So major constraint is land. So if adequate land is available, only in that condition the free range system can be followed. So this ensure the desired stocking density by avoiding overcrowding. So we can rear about 250 adult birds per hectare in this free range system, right? So free range, what it provides? It provides a shelter, green, feed, water, and shade. All the things are provided in the free range system. It provides shelter to the birds, greens for its feeding, other feeds, water, and shade. Foraging is the major source of feeding for birds. So what is the major source of feeding? Foraging, right? Shelter is usually provided by temporary roofing supported by ordinary poles. So sometimes the shelter that is provided in case of free range, so it is a temporary roofing system, right? Fields are generally used on rotational basis after harvesting of crops by moving of birds from one field to another depending upon the cropping program. So fields can be rotated, right? So means if the birds are kept in one field in one season, and this can be rotated in the next field in the next year, right? All the categories of birds can be reared in this system, and this system is most preferred for organic egg production, right? So free range system is followed for organic egg production, right? So what are the advantages? There is less capital investment, right? So because we do not need to make any cages, any houses, that's why there is less capital investment. Feed requirements are less since birds can consume fairly good amount of feed from the grassland. Okay, so birds can get all the feed from the grassland, so we do not require any kind of feed, right? So they consume less. The fertility of soil can be maintained as their excreta is very nutritious for the soil and for the crops, as it contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in some quantity. So it maintains the fertility of the soil where it is kept. The next system is semi-intensive system. Semi-intensive system means the birds are halfway reared in the houses and halfway on the ground or range, right? So it is the combination of both the extensive system and intensive system. Means the birds are kept on the ground as well as in the houses, right? So birds are confined to houses in the night or as per their need, and they are also given access to runs, right? So they are kept in the houses at the time of night, and they are also having the access to runs in the field. The houses are with solid floors while runs are fields only. So houses are having solid floors. The success of rearing depends upon the maintenance of condition of runs to reduce the contamination, right? So contamination should be reduced. Runs can also be used on turn basis, like these fields can be used on the turn basis as in case of extensive system. The stocking density weight for adult birds is 750 birds per hectare. So we can rear 750 adult birds per hectare in semi-intensive system. This system is usually adopted for duck rearing, and the feeding and watering facilities are provided in the pen, that is in the house. And advantages of semi-intensive are this is more economical use of land compared to free range system. Okay, because we can keep more birds in this system, so there is more economical use of land. Then it provides the protection to the birds from the extreme climatic conditions, as there are houses are also available, right? So it provides more protection than the extensive type of housing. The next one is intensive system. Intensive system means the birds are totally confined to the houses, right? Either they can kept on the ground, the houses are made on the ground or floor, or on wire netting floor in the cages or on slats. So it is a most efficient, most convenient and economical system for the modern poultry production with huge numbers. So this method of poultry rearing or poultry housing is most convenient system, most economical system in the modern poultry production, right? So this is divided into three parts. We can say that there are three types of intensive system housing. The first one is deep litter system. Deep litter system means there is a house for the birds, and litter is spread on the ground. Litter means some kind of straw is spread on the ground, and it is changed time to time, right? So this in this system the birds are kept inside the house all the time, right? All the arrangements for feed, water and nest are made inside the house, right? So feed is given inside the house, water is supplied inside the house, and the egg production is also uh, inside the house. Birds are kept on suitable litter material of about 3 to 5 inch depth. So litter material, some kind of litter material, that is some kind of straw is spread on the ground, right? So what are the advantages? Vitamin B2 and B12 are made available to birds from the litter material by the bacterial action. So in the litter there are many minerals, many vitamins. So by the bacterial action, vitamin B2 and B12 are made available to the birds from the litter. The welfare of birds is maintained to some extent. The deep litter manure is useful fertilizer. So litter, it is changed time to time. So the litter, when it is when we take it from the house of the poultry, it is rich in the nutrients. So it can be used as manure in the field. Lesser nuisance from flies when compared to cage system. So there is lesser nuisance from the flies in this system. The second system, others of intensive system, is slatted or slotted floor system. In slatted system, the iron rods or wood reapers, these are used as floor, right? And usually this is 2 to 3 feet above the ground level, so that it can facilitate the fall of droppings through slates. Dropping means their excreta. So excreta will be fall down 2 to 3 feet on the ground. So these slats are 2 to 3 feet above the ground level. Wooden rappers or iron rods of 2-inch diameter can be used on lengthwise of the house with interspace of 1 inch between the rods. So what are the advantages of Slatter system? Less floor space per bird is needed when compared to solid floor system. So less space is needed. Bedding is eliminated. So in case of litter, the bedding is required, but in this case, bedding is eliminated. Manure handling is avoided. So in the deep litter system, we need to handle the manure, and in this case, manure handling is avoided. There is increased sanitation as compared to the deep litter system. There is saving in labor, and soil-borne infection is controlled in this case, right? The next one is cage system. Cage system means to keep the birds in the cages. So cages are made for an individual bird, right? This system involves rearing of poultry on a raised wire netting floor in smaller compartments. So smaller compartments that are called cages. These compartments are made with the help of wire netting, right? So floor is also wire netted floor, and these are fitted with the stands on the floor or hanged from the roof, right? So these can be fitted with the stands on the floor, or these can be hanged from the roof. It has been proved very efficient for laying operations right from the day old to till disposal. So it is very efficient. Feeders and waterers are attached to cages from the outside. So in this figure you can see this line. So this is a feeder. So in this feed of the birds can be kept. So feeders as well as waterers. So water is also provided outside the cages. Auto-operated feeding trolleys and egg collection belts can also be used in this rearing system, right? So auto-operated feeding trolleys, they are auto-operated, and egg collection belts are also there, so that eggs can be collected easily. So the droppings are either collected in trays underneath cages, or on the belts, or on the floor, or on the deep pit under cages, depending on the type of cages. So cages are of different types, and their droppings means their excreta. This can be collected by different ways, like in the trays, on the belts, on the floor, in the deep pits under the cages. So excreta can be collected. So, what are the advantages of cage system? Minimum floor space is needed. So, floor space, very less floor space is needed. There is less wastage of feed. There is better feed efficiency, and protection of the birds from internal parasites as well as soil-borne illness. Sick and unproductive birds can be easily identified and can be eliminated easily. The egg production is clean, and no need of leader material, and artificial insemination can be adopted easily in this case. So this is all regarding the housing systems of livestock as well as poultry. So thank you everyone.